Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, Africa's history is mankind's history, and new chapters to this endless story have just been added. First released in 1964, UNESCO adds new takes and technology to a monumental book that tracks the continent's global perspective from thousands of years ago to contemporary events. Also, South Africa's Madlanga Commission continues to look into damning allegations of corruption by some of the country's top figures. It's been running since July, but some onlookers worry that high-ranking officials accused of graft are unlikely to face consequences. And TikTok helps Kenyan creators make more time for local tunes. Homegrown tracks are getting far more play online than on radio airways, and musicians are loving the exposure. Now, Africa is central to humanity's shared history and is essential to mankind's ability to navigate the challenges and possibilities in store in our collective future. But for many complex reasons, appreciation for the content's profound shaping of human achievement has been, and in some arenas continues to be, lacking. Well, back in 1964, experts from around the world came together to make more of Africa's story accessible to more people and created the General History of Africa. Now, the book centered the African perspective and was put together by UNESCO and relied on work from more than 550 historians and specialists. But lucky for us, for now, Africa's and mankind's story has not stilled, and more chapters were recently added, expanding the scope of the collection. I'm joined now by Lydia Brito, the Assistant Director General for Natural Sciences at UNESCO. Lydia, thanks so much for making the time to speak to me. So the first new chapters to the General History of Africa since 1993, I believe. What's come out of it? What's changed about our understanding of the continent since the last time this work was done? And are there any shifts that you're particularly excited about?
Thank you very much. And again, a pleasure to be with you in this show. And I have to say that a lot has changed. Not only what we know, but how we understand African history. Over the past 30 years, new discoveries from archaeology, linguistics, genetics, and environmental has really expand our knowledge on Africans' past. But even more important, the approach has shifted. Volumes are written by Africans for the world. It's decolonized. It values oral tradition, material culture, art, archives equally. It shows Africa not as a passive subject in history, but as the center of innovation, creativity, and knowledge from the very beginning. What excites me most in these three new volumes is seeing Africa reclaimed as an actor in the global history and its contributions recognized and celebrated. And I think that's what we are doing with these three new volumes in this General History of Africa.
I can't wait to find time to read it. Now, a lot of work's gone into it. Lots of researchers from around the world have put their specialist knowledge into putting it together. So undeniably of academic, intellectual, historical, even anthropological value. But what does all this mean to, your ordinary man on the street, be it in, Barbados or Brooklyn or Bamako? You yourself, you're Mozambican. Do you personally feel that this has informed the way that you see your continent story in any way?
This project, from the beginning, but more now in this second phase, is fundamentally about restoring representation and dignity. For too long, African history were told from external perspectives, often fragmented and distorted. The General History of Africa is really trying to bring together that sense of unity and really, in a way, to reflect the continent's rich heritage. allowing Africans worldwide to see themselves as active contributors to global civilization. For every African, whether in the continent or in the diaspora, this work provides a sense of pride and belonging. It highlights the depth and the diversity of African cultures, emphasizing their central role in shaping world history. And as a Mozambican, Mozambique has a very rich culture and a long history. And the history that goes from bringing the communities together, but also fighting colonialism. And until today, we are doing so. So these new volumes, in a way, allow us to be even more engaged in that fight of restoring who we are, where we come from, with all our full history, and from there gain the space that we need to contribute to a better humanity. Because more than ever, all of us need to contribute to a better humanity. And as an African in diaspora now, I really want that space. And I think ultimately this work, what it does really, it's really making us as individuals, as collectivity, to really have this consciousness that we have a lot to contribute for a better world.
Lydia Brito, we can see your passion and your excitement about this work. I really am, I just had a chance to skim it in preparation of speaking to you, but I really am intending to sit down and try and dig more deep because it just looks super interesting. And thank you so much for making the time to come and share your excitement about the general history of Africa's latest editions with Eye on Africa.
Thank you.
Well, we turn to South Africa now, where the Madlanga Commission continues to look into damning allegations of corruption by some of the country's top figures. The commission's been running since July, but some are already worried that officials accused of graft are unlikely to face any real tangible consequences. Tom Canetti breaks it down for us.
Lieutenant Charles Kenyan was assassinated outside his home in 2020. He was investigating corruption within the police. 5 years on, Kenya's widow, Nicolette, is still waiting for justice, despite several commissions of inquiries investigating corruption within the police force and the justice system.
We've had so many commissions and inquiries and investigations within in the 5 years since my husband's passing. The facts don't change, they stay the same. The recommendations are done, people sit, millions are spent in investigations, but no recommendations are followed through.
Corruption within the police once again made headlines in July when a commissioner accused the Minister of Police of dismantling a team investigating political killings, leading to the establishment of the Madlanga Commission.
I believe that the minister issued the directive to disband the political killings task team because someone had whispered in the minister's ear that the team was investigating cases that might link his or her associates.
A corruption watchdog says infiltration by criminal groups inside the justice system has worsened over the last years.
What is quite problematic and what we are seeing now is that you now have criminal syndicates who are well organized and who are now more influential in the police and how police is ran. So you don't now know where the decisions to arrest and not to arrest is actually coming from.
The first report from the Madlanga Commission will be provided to the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, at the end of 2025.
Well, social media platforms like TikTok have become enormously important to the careers of Kenyan musicians. Instead of competing for radio airtime with tracks from big US and international names, they now have direct lines to their listeners. Take a look.
It's one of the latest trends among young people in Nairobi, the Donjo Maber Dance Challenge, the choreography performed to this Kenyan track.
Most of the videos that TikTokers do using the Kenyan sounds, they go more viral than when you use a song that is not known by maybe from another country. Maybe more people prefer Kenyan songs to dance the challenges, whatever.
Until recently, most Kenyans listened to foreign music, but TikTok challenges have changed that. In 2024, local music consumption on streaming platforms almost doubled. Artists are riding this wave of popularity with more and more live shows. Busy is rehearsing before his evening performance.
I feel like the power at the moment is more in our hands, not in the promoter's hands. I don't have to spend too much money just to try and get my song to radio.
To support Kenyan artists, the social network has made its analytics platform available for reference. But for this expert, that's still not enough.
I think even in terms of how talented they are, they could definitely make a bigger impact on TikTok if they were able to understand like what's the best time to post, what content am I posting, how best am I going to gather more audiences for my music.
To answer those questions, Kenya need more trained professional managers like Wambui. With music distribution on social media platforms still in its infancy and no revenues from TikTok, artists will need to find other ways to capitalize on their growing success.
Well, before we go, in a blow to Kenyan athletics, women's marathon world record holder Ruth Chepngetich has received a 3-year ban for doping. The 31-year-old admitted to violating rules about blood limits for a substance called HCTZ. She says it entered her system accidentally when she took someone else's medication whilst ill. Her marathon record will stand as it was set before her positive test was recorded in July. And that's it for Eye on Africa. Thanks very much for joining us, and do so again if you can. Till then, take care.